Good morning, Oklahoma, and welcome to Cow-Calf Corner. I'm Mark Johnson, and this week we follow up and based on some feedback and questions we've had from producers on some of the recent articles that we've done and talked about analyzing feedstuffs on a per unit of crude protein or energy that we're actually purchasing. We take a little closer look at what goes on in our cow herd, or individual cows for that matter, relative to their daily energy and crude protein requirements as they go through different stages of production. We always talk about in cow herds, there's two primary things that influence the nutritional requirements of cows, those being the sheer size or biomass or the mature weight of the cow, and then the level of milk production she actually gives. But I think it's worth mentioning the stage of production that she's actually at. As we'll talk about today, we'll see that has a pretty dramatic impact relative to that level of milk that she gives once she goes into lactation. It's important to think about what a cow actually needs, because if there's two things we can do to rob a cow-calf operation of profit potential, it's overfeeding and underfeeding. And so as we take a look at the 1,300-pound cow, normal weather, so we've not got climate influencing actual needs, making the assumption that we've got an ample supply of good quality water, and we know we're probably feeding some kind of a mineral supplement ad lib, the energy and crude protein requirements of a 1,300-pound cow in the middle third of pregnancy, there's actually 1.64 pounds of protein and about 11 pounds of energy in the form of TDN. Now, as we've discussed in recent weeks, cow, there's a good chance she's going to be able to meet those nutritional requirements on some kind of average quality hay or still just some kind of a decent quality pasture. But as we look at that same cow and think about her going into the final trimester of pregnancy, when we've got some extra growth and development of a fetus going on inside of her, that same cow actually moves up to a 1.84 crude protein requirement each day, and the energy need goes up to 13.3. Now that's some increase. But when she actually calves and begins to milk, we now take a look at some numbers that is when we really see that spike in the crude protein and energy requirements of that cow relative to the amount of milk that she gives. That cow, if she peaks out giving about 25 pounds of milk per day, those first 90 days post-calving, she's going to move up to 3.4 pounds of crude protein a day that she needs, and that energy requirement is going to spike up to 19.3. Now that's at 25 pounds of milk per day at the peak of lactation. If that cow's giving 35 pounds of milk per day, she's actually going to need 4.2 pounds of crude protein and 22.2 pounds of energy. So through the normal ebb and flow of a production cycle, the same cow, based on how much milk she's genetically programmed to give, we see a lot of ebb and flow. We see some pretty serious spikes in what she actually needs. Why is this worth talking about this time of year? We want to take into account the stage of production we're at with our cow herd, when we're going to start calving. We know we'd like those cows at a body condition score 5 to 6. When they start calving, that's going to ensure that they've got the energy reserves that permit them to breed back quickly, calve again, and wean off a calf every 12 months. I hope this helps, and thanks for joining us on Cow-Calf Corner.